I'm not sure how many of you have already made a poster and presented in front of people. Did you already do it? You are MSc people or normal people? Normal people, okay, good. Normal means nothing to offend, okay. So, the IITs, the oldest ones, were established in 1950s. Kharagpur was the oldest campus and started perhaps operating from a jail campus. Then we had Kanpur, Delhi, Bombay, Madras. These were the older ones. Then for next 30 to 40 years, nothing much happened, except that in early 1990s, we had IIT Kharagpur. Kharagpur? Guwahati, I'm sorry. IIT Guwahati. So I think it started operating in 1992. And then again, nothing happened for next 15 years or so. And then we have suddenly 6 new IITs with the same original goal as thought for the original five IITs, Kharagpur, Delhi, Bombay, and so on, that they will help the country grow on the path of engineering. But this was a very interesting time. So these IITs started operating in 2008. And I think the decision was taken in 2006 or 2007, I don't remember exactly. The decision was not really academic or technological. The decision was something else. It was based on something else. But the use of this opportunity could have been in multiple ways. So that was the time. So it was interesting in the sense that prior to 2008, we didn't have communication technology so well advanced. So until 1990s, I mean, not many people, my parents probably didn't even, had not seen a computer, let me be absolutely clear. And the generations before, they had probably not seen it. So it was not there. The mobile phones were not there in late 1990s, perhaps. So in 2000s, the major new thing was that the communication technology was superb. Okay. So people had access to a lot of new knowledge. Sitting here, we could know what is happening in MIT, what is happening in Stanford, what is happening in other top universities in the campus. Not just that, we also could find out that what is happening in different societies, different countries, how are they evolving. And then this placed us at a unique platform to use all the good information and incorporate all that in very fastly changing society. So the students who graduate from an IIT are, at least expected to serve the country, and they will serve the best when they are at par or, in line with what how the society is evolving. So this gives us a great opportunity, and this gave us a great opportunity, and I think we made very good use of it. So if you look at the architecture of the campus, the thinking process, I think a lot of weightage was given to how people are going to interact in a campus. And the buildings, the way buildings are connected, the academic area and so on, this is a reflection of that thought. Then it also was important to have something like new technology. For example, we are going to consume more and more energy as the time goes on. And how do we use the energy most efficiently? So these are the things. Then another very nice feature that I like about this campus is that this has, most of the areas have wheelchair access, which is another requirement for any dynamic and vibrant campus today. And then there are many other things. And we are really privileged to have Professor Harish PM today talk to us, because he has been involved in the design and construction of this campus, different aspects, all the discussions and all, from relatively early stages. So he is also a professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering. And I think he is also advising some of the SRIP students. Are you? Just one, okay. Okay, so one is here. Okay, so Professor Harish.
Okay, thanks a lot, Manish. Is there a time limit? No time limit. I, no, this is good enough. Okay, so I do see some familiar faces here. Let me first get a sense of the crowd. How many of you are from IIT Gandhinagar? Okay, half of you. Oh. And the remaining are not from IIT Gandhinagar, from outside? Can you raise your hands also just to see? Okay. Just to make sure that nobody is in between. All right. So where are some of you from? Can you just shout out a couple of places that you're from? Your institutions. Cochin University, okay. IIT Guwahati. NIT Rourkela. Okay. Anything else? Nirma University, okay. All right, so we have people from all over. Okay, so campus is a very wide topic to talk about, and it says special features of the campus. Special features, it largely depends on what is the interest of the person who's hearing. Some people are interested in hearing special features about the construction technologies, others are interested in hearing special features about the design, yet others are interested in the philosophy behind the campus. So I was thinking about what I should talk about, and then in the end I realized that it will be hard to plan such a session, and it's better to just keep it interactive, and we could interact on various aspects depending on what you're interested in. If you're interested in knowing something about the design, we can talk about that. Something about how we operate or the philosophy behind it, we can talk about that, and so on and so forth. So first, let me ask two things. First thing, have you guys all seen the campus website? Okay, so there's a website on the main IITGN website. There is on the right, there's a link to the campus website, and that campus website has a bunch of links and information. So it has campus maps, it has some description of campus features and philosophies and so on and so forth. So in case you haven't seen it, let me just show it to you real quick. So after this session, if you're interested in some of the information, you can go and look that up. Okay, so the link over here. And in case you haven't seen it, I would certainly recommend highly that you watch this video. It's a very short video. This was shot at the end of the last monsoon. You guys have all seen this video? Who has not seen this video yet? Oh, you haven't seen this video? Okay. So maybe I should just leave it running in the back, but let me just show you very quickly. So this is the campus website. This is a real picture. There's a bunch of maps, some information, some publications, some information about the birds that are on campus, some of the awards the campus has won, some information about the facilities, features. So you can go through this. You will find, if you're interested in finding out more, you will certainly find there's some interesting things to read here. Oh, it's opening up. Okay, so this is something, again, I'll encourage you guys to go and watch. Maybe I'll just leave it running. This is not Photoshop. There was too much water in the river last rainy season. course, you can watch this on your own also. Now, oh, somebody will have to. Okay, so let's get to the interaction. Maybe what we can do is we can start with people who are not IIT Gandhinagar people, and then just ask a few questions. Then we can see how the discussion proceeds. So first question, how many of you guys have seen the river? Been to the river side, maybe even tried to walk down? Okay, two. Okay, forget about walking down. How many of you have at least seen some water in the river somewhere? All of you? Okay, you guys knew there was a river nearby. Okay, all right. How many of you have gone to the top of Lal Minar? All of you? There are some who aren't. Okay, how about IIT Gandhinagar people? Can I assume that all of you have gone to the top of Lal Minar? Anybody who is in IIT Gandhinagar who has not gone to the top of Lal Minar? You've been there in the video or in your dreams. Okay, anyway. What about some of the ravines, some of the wilder areas? Have you guys gone to the main scenic drive? How many of you have walked to the main scenic drive near the ravines? No? Nobody? IIT Gandhinagar people? Okay. No? Okay. How many of you are early risers? 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 7:30 a.m., 7:45 a.m. No, IST. 8 a.m. Okay, how many of you wake up 8 a.m. or earlier than that? Let's see a show of hands. So, I think anytime before 8 a.m., I think some of your friends are disputing. Said, "ये तो 8 बजे नहीं उठता, ये खाली पीली हाथ उठा रहा है." So I can guarantee if you go to the scenic drive before 8 a.m., you'll probably spot at least 20 peacocks. At least 20. 20 peacocks. Probably much more than that. That's a minimum guarantee that I'm giving. In fact, there are certain spots, there's one spot along the scenic drive, there's a little bit of plateau above, where in that plateau itself, you'll see, 20, 25 peacocks oftentimes. If the timing is right and if you go at, 11 a.m., you might not see that many. You might still see a few. And in fact, this rainy season, the last time I went, day before yesterday, out of those 20, 25, there were 3 or 4 that were in full bloom, opened up their feathers and then dancing, doing their coating dance. So it's really nice and very interesting landscape. What else? How many of you have walked along the central vista? That is easy. I think everybody would have done that, right? Okay. How many of you have walked along the periphery road? Few have, okay. All right. Okay, so there's a lot to see on campus. It depends on your adventure spirit and how much you want to explore in terms of physical things to see, in terms of various things. Okay, so now let's come to more specific questions. People from outside IIT Gandhinagar, what are some of the few things that you noticed about the campus that are unique or that are different or that was not happening in your own campus? Anything. It could be as simple as the hostels are too close to each other.
Yeah, the hostels are very close. They're all connected to each other. In our campus, like the hostels are very spread out.
So you like that or you don't like?
It has its advantages, but sometimes you don't want to see people.
What's your name?
Ameya.
Amira. Okay. Anything else? You don't have lifts in hostel. Okay. Okay. So you like lifts in hostel? Okay. But sometimes dogs use the lifts also, right? No, they're not able to get to the. Okay. Any other points that you observed? You have in time. I've never heard of that word.
After a certain time, you cannot you have to write in a
So you are not allowed to enter after that time. The campus or the hostel or both?
hostel and campus both have their end times. If
Oh,
you come after a certain time, you have to write your name and
okay. Okay, that's an important difference. What else?
Structure over in this center area. It is something really unique and I have never seen it before.
The
I don't
space
know why
frame
it is
structure.
there, but it is really
There's a honeybee hive on that also.
before that way.
Yeah, okay, okay. Yeah, you're all touching upon some of the special features of the campus. So I can comment on all of this later. Okay, what else? Okay, motion sensors. Okay, the solar panels. Hey, how many of you guys have walked under the solar panel walkway? It is still not officially finished yet. They are still, but you guys have all walked under it. Okay, that's good. So hopefully within another 10, 15 days, it is cleaned up and it is commissioned. And then there will be a cafe at the end, cafe as in small tea kiosk. So I think the next time you come to campus, some of you guys who may leave at the end of the summer, if you come back in 6 months, 1 year, you'll see that the entire vibrancy and activity level has changed. Everything will be happening this side. Now everybody is walking through the, the road or, some of the open areas and things like that. Okay, so solar panels, what else? Okay, so we'll continue talking about more features, but some of these, do the IIT Gandhinagar people want to react? So in time, what is the observation of IIT Gandhinagar people on that? Anybody wants to say anything? No? Come on guys, they're asking कि ऐसा हमारे यहाँ पे in time क्यों नहीं होता है? कुछ do we know anything about it? Anybody? Huh? Alric, you want to say something?
You trust us that we won't do anything bad.
You all trust us. So who's trusting who?
I mean, we are treated as adults, so we should be responsible for our own actions.
Okay. Campus is quite liberal. Okay. Okay, so that is, you touched upon a very important point, and it is something that you will see is reflected not only in time, but so many things across campus. There is a view that students are adults, they are responsible for their own actions. If there's some misbehavior, then there are, of course, strong actions, but if there are not, then you give complete freedom to students. Right? If something bad happens, then there is some serious action, and it's swift action. I think some of the IIT Gandhinagar students can talk about that. But if there are not, then there is no point in treating students like kids and say कि आप report करो, ये करो. You cannot go to girls' hostel. You cannot do this. You cannot do that. So that is something you will see reflected in many things. And you may not have observed some of the finer things, but if you start speaking to somebody about these, you will notice there are lots of little things. For instance, there are no gates or boundary walls within the campus. Absolutely none. That's a very strict requirement of ours. No matter what building we do, we'll never put a wall around that building and a gate. Right? We want that freedom to be reflected in the movement. Anybody can go anywhere. So there won't be a separate gate for girls' hostel or any other building for that matter. High end instrument facility. It's not that it's within another barricade and things like that. Same with entering different hostels. Same with entering campus in the night, and so on and so forth. Yes.
So I have a question with this no boundary at all. So in another campus I know about, they didn't have boundary in the beginning, but eventually they realized that the objects, for example, the wallet, laptop, mobile phones were gradually missing and they had to construct the boundary walls. That is one. Second is in that campus, the academic area did not have boundary to reflect perhaps the freedom, but eventually they learned that there are some social and political activities happening around the academic area that people did not want to come into the academic area, and they had to construct the boundary. So how do you foresee that being implemented here?
Okay, excellent question. It's very hard to foresee how things will move in the future. 10 years down the line, who knows what will happen. But the effort really is to, when I say give freedom, well, freedom is not given. It's just that we treat students as adults. We repeatedly emphasize, and the student body itself, carries this message very strongly, that it comes with responsibility, right? You have to be responsible in various aspects. So many of these things, right at the beginning, if we have a very proactive community, the students are looking out for each other. When there are small issues of theft, they are reported at the right time, right action is taken, or if there are some antisocial activities, then there is self-control, right? If we are building that culture of more of self-control and self-monitoring, the hope is we wouldn't have to go in that direction. But who knows, you cannot really predict, but that is the direction we are taking so far, and so far it is, reaping good results. So again, this is something that is reflected in many things on campus, and not just physical infrastructure, but also the way some of the academic activities are handled, it's reflected. Okay, that's regarding that comment. Then there were some other comments. I forget, what did you say? Yeah, okay. Hostels are very close to each other. Okay. Any IIT Gandhinagar students want to comment on this? Was this conscious, unconscious, accidental? Is there a thinking behind the hostels being close to each other? No? No? I think all of them know, but they are just feeling shy in front of the others. Okay, so that's again a very conscious philosophy in the design, where we have specifically tried to go for dense but low-rise construction. So if you see in many of the old campuses, certainly true for IIT Bombay, IIT Delhi, such campuses, and it's becoming true for many of the other campuses, that you run out of room and you have to go high-rise. Right? At some point you say, okay, Abhi, if you have to build any more hostels, it has to be a high-rise hostel. Now, we have spent a lot of time thinking about whether we should do high-rise or not from day one, because land is, a precious resource at this moment. We cannot afford to just waste land by spreading out all our buildings and then later realizing that we don't have enough space to grow. So we very consciously decided low-rise but dense construction, and we did some careful analysis to make sure that the construction is still dense enough that it is still more efficient than doing 10-floor buildings. Because when you do taller buildings, you have to leave more space. You cannot put two tall buildings very close to each other. It will create such a bad environment within those buildings. You will not have natural light. You will be looking into somebody else's window. And also, at the ground level, it will feel like an alley. It will feel like a dead, criminal space where people will start dumping stuff. You'll be afraid to go there. Udhar jayenge to koi mera purse chori kar dega. That kind of. So it becomes a backyard, right? It becomes a dump yard. So this was a very conscious, again, direction, that low-rise dense, not only for efficiency of land, but also for better vibrancy and better response to weather conditions. Of course, the trees on campus have not fully developed yet. Many are being planted, and over the next few years, you'll see. But imagine once the trees have come up, low-rise dens will still give you much better shading within the, so you can still sit in T-post, at 3 p.m. and not be in the sun, because it's, the spaces are narrow, that there is shade of the building, this, that, right? So if the buildings were spread out and the cafe was out there somewhere, that would not be very efficient. It would be very hot everywhere you go, right? And similarly with the hostel rooms, I know they still feel hot in the summer. You can't claim that now it feels cool. It's still hot, but it's not as hot as it would have been if it was an isolated building or it was spread out much more, right? You see self-shading a lot. So one hostel shade falling on the other, that kind of thing. And then at the top floors, the windows are inclined to reduce some of the heat gain. So there are a lot of little things that have happened that have gone into it. And what you've observed very correctly, there's a lot of thinking that went behind it. Okay, what was the other point? Okay, that's also a special feature, yes. The space frame. Okay, there are actually a few things in the academic campus, which is again, when you walk around, you feel there's something different. You feel there's a uniqueness aspect, in this area. But again, there's some very simple, clear thinking that went behind it. So the academic area, the design was to make sure that it is open to exploration. It is an area that you can explore. It's not, in a line there are 4 buildings and you go from one to the other and there's a corridor connecting them, right? It's not like a corridor where there's a defined walkway. This is how you walk, this is how you get to. It's like an open, organic, very asymmetric, very spread out kind of space where you can go anywhere, you can sit and chat, and it's an exploratory space, something that people would like to explore. There is, however, still a central spine that starts from, there's a fountain here, I don't know if you guys have seen that. So at one corner there's a fountain. They only switch it on when there's some event or something like that. And then the other corner is the Lal Minar. Between that, that's called the central spine. The entire design was focused on most of the buildings should open to the central spine or close to it. The central spine is the main movement path, but still it doesn't feel like a straight walkway, right? If you stand at one end, it doesn't feel like, yahan ek seedha corridor hai, mujhe end tak jana hai. And along the central spine, the idea was there will be a lot of activity nodes or just interaction nodes. And the Samvad area, that's called Samvad, by the way. That area is called Samvad. That structure is called space frame. That is one of the key nodes, in fact, the major node. The structure itself, that was, so there was some thinking that, all of the other buildings are gray, not very colorful. There has to be some color somewhere. You cannot have an entire campus that is gray. And of course, there's reason for gray also, because it is very low maintenance, very high durability. You don't have to paint every 3 years or every 5 years. So this is something that initially looks, sometimes people comment, "Arey, ye to naya lag hi nahi raha hai. Ye lag raha hai 10 saal purana hai." That kind of thing. So it has that kind of simple look, not a very flashy look, but very robust. Over the long term, it is very useful. So of course, so here we wanted color. So the idea behind that is really Uttarayan in Gujarat. You guys know about Uttarayan, right? So Uttarayan is here. Yeah, so by the way, Uttarayan is a nice time to visit Ahmedabad and Gujarat, especially some of the older neighborhoods if you go. There's so many kites in the sky that, you feel, oh my God, how is it possible to have so many kites in the sky without, interfering? So that is really an inspiration from Uttarayan. So they are all, it's like different, a whole bunch of kites in the sky with different colors. So that is the inspiration loosely, but the purpose is really a interaction space which has a grand gesture. Okay, what were other comments? There were 2 or 3 other comments. Motion sensors, okay. That's also a key feature, yes, special feature. Um, that is really coming from energy efficiency, right? Everybody, I mean, we are not the only ones who is thinking about energy efficiency. Every campus, every firm, every institute, every house, every person is now thinking about energy efficiency. A lot of small things we have done for energy efficiency. Motion sensors is one of those. You see in some of the buildings, block 5, block 6, block 4, block 3, lot of natural light within the corridor, right? If you go to first floor, second floor in the day, it's brightly lit. In, if it was all closed corridors, you will have tube lights within them throughout the day, if, you know, for such a large building. So a lot of heavy use of natural light, heavy use of natural ventilation. Of course, natural ventilation that doesn't help that much in the summer, but in the other periods of the year, it actually helps a lot. In the winter, it's very pleasant here. In the monsoon, it is starting to get pleasant now. Light sensors, in terms of how we do the air conditioning, in terms of the insulation that we have, in terms of using fly ash bricks. Fly ash is coming from a local power plant, which is just about 7-8 kilometers from here. You can actually see, you know, those huge towers with smoke coming out of it. It's a coal-fired power plant. So the excess, so the fire ash, which is a byproduct of the burning, we used that fire ash to build our own bricks on campus and used all those bricks in these constructions. So if you break open any of these walls, you will find fly ash bricks. It's not the regular clay bricks. So a lot of little things, and many of these little things are actually very simple, very, they are not very flashy. It's not that when you come in, you say, wow, it's something that you notice on there. It's something that is hidden. You have to kind of go looking for it. But a lot of things have happened for energy efficiency. In fact, we are the first campus in the country to have received a 5-star rating from Griha. So Griha is a energy efficiency rating agency, in fact, the leading agency in India, equivalent to LEED in US and other countries. You might have heard about LEED gold, what is it called? LEED gold rating, LEED platinum rating. Here it's, Griha 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, 4-star, 5-star. So 5-star is the highest rating possible, and we were the first campus as a whole, as a campus, to receive the 5-star rating. In fact, in the video you will see there are other awards that we won also. In fact, the academic area just this year won first prize in the green building category in HUDCO award. So HUDCO is, I think it stands for Housing and Urban Development Corporation or something like that. So a lot of things have gone on. Okay, so were there other comments that I'm missing? What did you say? The mic. What are you doing on time?
Hello. Yeah. So,
No. Thanks.
so it's
Yeah.
working. So there are two amphitheaters, like divided
why
into
two?
two. Yeah, right. Why two smaller and not a one big large? Like why
Okay.
two?
Okay. Before that question, how many of you have gone to those 2 amphitheaters? Come on, don't be shy. It doesn't matter if you have gone in the day to just have a look at the river, or gone in the night to just chat with friends, or gone with your girlfriend or boyfriend, in the middle of the night to make sure nobody else. It doesn't matter which way you've gone, but have you all gone there? No. Is there anybody who has not seen those things? No? You guys are not explorers. Huh? Okay, so the idea was really that we want to use as much of the roof space as possible. We didn't want to just waste. We felt terraces were presenting good opportunities. We wanted to make the best use of that. Many places we put solar panels, but other places we thought we could make them usable. So it so happened that there are two large classrooms underneath. So both those became two small amphitheaters. It's not by design that we wanted specifically two different ones. But I'm hoping some of the student activities make good use of it, either during the cultural festival or even summer intern activities. You could maybe organize something there, those kind of things. There is a larger 2,000 capacity garden amphitheater that is coming up in the next phase, but that will take another year to develop. There are many new buildings that are coming up. What you see is a very small part of the eventual plan, and that's why it seems like these buildings are so close to each other, and uske aage to itna space hi space hai, right? It looks like that, because we are really planning next 15, 20, 25 years, all expansion taken into account. So hostels ke aur 2 phase construction aayenge, and so on and so forth. Okay, other comments? Other observations, comments, points for discussion, doubts, suggestions? Okay, there are two things that are going to happen in between. One, where you have the Jal Mandap. You guys know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about when I say Jal Mandap? So right outside IBAN. By the way, the story of the names of the hostels is also an interesting story. But anyway, right outside IBAN, towards the academic area, you see a small circular structure. So when you are coming from IBAN towards the academic area. The tree is on the right, on the left. So you know where the salon is, right? So from there, if you just walk out, right, on your right, you will see a white circular structure. On the left, you will see 3 or 4 mango trees. Huh? Left it is, I was showing the right hand, I was just saying. So I'm bad with left-right symmetry. So on the left, there is a round, so when you're going back, in fact, if you take the solar shaded pathway, that is where it leads. So that is actually an underground rainwater storing tank. So all the rainwater from all the terraces go to the tank, and that is used within campus. So anyway, on top of that, there is a sitting space, and there's a very small amphitheater there also. You can see that. So that entire area, the trees and the Jal Mandap, so there will be basketball courts coming up there. So that is really a play zone, court zone, basketball courts, and 3 basketball courts, 3 volleyball courts that are coming up there. And then after that, this area, so the wilder area here, between the road, there's a road, concrete road that is being constructed, and between that and here. So that area is future academic buildings. So eventually there will be more academic buildings coming. So once the campus is fully ready, you will see, that there's a plan for all of that. Okay, good question.
You mentioned that there is this volleyball court and the basketball court that is going to come up with other fun things between the academic area and the student hostel. So are we trying to go by a philosophy that says something like, okay, too much fun is what is separating the students and the academic area or something?
You can interpret it that way if you want. No, that was, that's not specifically the thought. By the way, there are a whole bunch of sports courts, and there's an entire sports complex that is coming up with 1 Olympic-sized pool, 1 smaller amateur pool, and a children pool. So all of that will come up in maybe 2 years, 2.5 years. So some of you guys, any guys here who have just finished second year in IIT Gandhinagar? Okay, So you'll be hoping that before you graduate, you have the pool ready, right? So you'll get at least one dip in the pool. So in fact, there's a lot of fun stories about campus. So we constructed the whole campus at a extremely blazing pace. So everything was constructed, from day one when the construction contracts were awarded to all the students moving in. The entire period was 2 years. And before that, there was absolutely nothing here, not even water connection, not even electricity connection, and so on and so forth. So everything was done at a rapid pace. And in fact, the second year students here, people who have finished second year, they were the first batch to move in, right? So your foundation program was here, right? So when you had the foundation program here, we were still putting things together, right? So when you came in, you would have seen a lot of mud around and things like that. So anyway, so a lot of things happening. Okay, so yeah, other questions? So we can take one or two more questions, then I have a couple of challenges for you guys.
Names.
Hostel names.
Hostel names.
Okay, what is your impression of hostel names? Does that really happen? If you search Ivan, you find. Okay, anybody else wants to react to the hostel names? So yeah, that is basically one of the objectives. We wanted to create new names that don't mean anything, so that there is a uniqueness factor. It's easy to find. You end up dominating Google search within a couple of years. It's not that you're competing with. So it's easy to find your friends later on. You want to see all IBAN. So if it was if the hostel was named Himalaya or Everest, and it will be hard to find all your Everestites later, right? Because when you search Everest, you'll see so many other things. So anyway, that was one objective. But primary objective was really to come up with our own names, which don't mean anything today, but which will develop a character and meaning over a period of time, depending on the residents of the hostel. So Chimer will have its own character over a period of time. And so I think already Chimer is now having a character of being the more outgoing. Am I correct? Any Chimer people here? Okay. Is that correct? No? No? Firpil is the quieter, studious hostel. No? 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 Okay. So it is still evolving. I guess it's not clear yet. But anyway, the idea is you will all have your own identity. Each hostel will feel, oh, I belong to this hostel. And there were many other thoughts that went into the names. It should not sound like a gali. It should not sound like words from another language. It should not sound Chinese. It should not sound Greek. It should not sound Latin. It should sound Indian. It should be easy to write in Devanagari script or English. It should not be very long. It should be compact, 5 letters, 6 letters. So there were many things. And then they are alphabetical. So once we have all 24 hostels in that area, we'll have to come up with 24 names. We have only come up with 6 names. But so, and then the idea is also, if you find it hard to remember names, you can still say, I want to go to block D, and you can still find your way. So it was serving many different purposes. Okay, other questions, other reactions? They're not very different. You'd have liked them to be, you would have liked them to be different from each other. Okay. Maybe you can try in the next phase. What is the opinion of others? No? Any other thoughts? There's a, okay, there's a, no, I was asking, so there was a suggestion from Ameya that uh, all hostels should have looked different. Okay, anyway, something to think about. It seems like nobody has very strong opinions about that. What's that? So you don't want it, right?
So I would just like to remember something from my own student days. So we had two undergraduate hostels. They were called Hall 2 and Hall 3. That time we had some 450 students in a batch. So they were all, clubbed into two pools. I'm sure, they have gone into different hostels. But that time there was this hall culture. So people who graduated would relate to their halls, that kis hall ke ho. This is one thing the people would ask, immediately after knowing that you are from a certain college, which hall. This is, and one of the two halls had one peculiar feature, that this was very well connected to the girls' hostel. It was known to be. So maybe the culture that you were talking about, that one is more studious, one is more sporty. These things may vary, but then there are some of the things that that are time tested. So let's see what eventually comes out of this.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see how they come. I haven't heard anything from that group. Any thoughts, any reactions, any questions about campus? Anything you like about campus, anything you don't like about campus? Okay, where are you guys from? Eh, West Bengal. None of you are from IIT Gandhinagar? All are from IIT Gandhinagar? You're not. Okay, somehow I don't recall seeing you much, but yeah. So where are you from? Okay, all right. So you guys, yeah. So it's more important to hear from her. What's your name? Chaturupa. Okay, interesting name. Any observations? Anything that you noticed about campus,
Like
which
whatever
you
you
don't
said
see in
before,
Presidency University?
like
Presidency
so
College?
much of freedom, probably. We don't have, and our hostels are like, don't have in-campus hostel. Campus is somewhere and hostel is somewhere else, where a new campus is coming off. And these are the basic differences, probably.
Okay, okay.
They are not adjustable.
You, you're turning it into a Viva. Okay. Good. By the way, this is all local teak, Valsad wood.
Just built over here itself. Are we going to be self-reliant in case of energy?
We want to be, that is a longer term goal. It is not so difficult to do it. It requires just setting aside some money to build some facilities. At the moment, we are consuming close to or about 1,000 kilowatt on campus, so 1 megawatt approximately. And at the moment, we have 500 kilowatt in solar installed, including the ones that are just being installed. So within, let's say, 5-10 days, half of our energy needs are being met by solar. And then there are so many other things in ways in which we are trying to reduce energy. So in MES, there's a passive cooling system, so on and so forth. So there are so many little things. So overall energy consumption, we are trying to keep the lower side. There's a biogas plant, where that is producing some energy, but that's very small energy. But it's helping recycle some of the waste on campus. You're not, all the water, sewage in campus is recycled on campus. So in fact, it's a zero discharge campus, which means that there are no drainage lines going out of campus. Absolutely no, none. No drainage lines going out. Everything is processed in campus, everything comes back to campus. So it goes to horticulture. Once in a while, you will see that when the sewage treatment plant is not working at its best. You'll see when you go to some of the lawn areas, you'll see it's smelling a little bit because the water is not processed perfectly. But on most other days, you will not notice anything. But certainly one tip is, don't go and take a shower in the sprinkler system or some of the gardening water. But it is a good recycling system. Uh, so it is relatively clean water. Nothing will happen to you, but still. It feels modern. Okay. Okay. Good. Thanks. Yeah. And a lot of deliberation went into, but keep it simple. I think a lot of people initially, when they first come, the first thing perhaps, at least many people have commented to me, the first thing they notice is that how very ordinary the buildings look. Right? They were, most of the people come thinking it will be a flashy building, it will be new glass, it will be curved buildings. They will, when they expect, fancy architecture, that is the image they have. At least many people have that, right? We say brand new building, we just built it yesterday. Then they have an imagination of it will look like a fancy mall or something. But then I think very soon they realize that no, for an institute this makes more sense, not a more fancy kind of building. So it's very simple from the outside, but then when you spend time, you realize that there are so many modern touches to it. I mean, including the furniture. So each and every piece of furniture is laser cut, CNC cut. There is no hand cut anywhere. That's why you see every piece is exactly the same, right? So it's traditional wooden furniture. When you first walk in, you say wooden. Cushion nahi hai, ye nahi hai, wo nahi hai, fiberglass nahi hai. You have ki modern nahi hai. But then you look closely, you say, this is very modern. You cannot get more modern than this. So there's a lot of things. Okay, so maybe we should start to wrap up. Any last comment? Then I have some job, some things for you to do. And one last comment from anybody? Any new question? Any new point? Okay, maybe I should also ask, what are the things you don't like about campus? Let's just spend 1 or 2 minutes on that, get reactions, 2 or 3, and then we'll move on to the last agenda point. Seems a bit empty. Okay. Yeah, we need to work on that. We need to get more people here. Yes, we need to grow faster. Yes, good point. Seems a bit empty. We need more people. Sometimes it makes you do exercise. Huh? Yeah, it's annoying at times. So ideally, I think what we have learned from here is that ideally motion sensors should be there in public areas, not in individual rooms. Because in individual rooms, to every few minutes to stand up is, but in a public area, when there's nobody there, you shut down, it makes more sense. Because public area, there's no ownership also. Nobody will go and switch off lights. Right? In your own room, you will switch off, or in your own office, you will switch off. So we'll move towards that. Okay. Others? Other suggestions?
May I make a comment on those sensors?
Yeah.
So previously we had the motion sensors in the offices that would go on or that would be activated every 5 minutes of inactivity. So you are sitting in the office and every 5 minutes you have to actually walk through the room to make it work. That was true for offices, true for faculty lounge, everywhere. So what some people figured out is to put a flap attached to that air conditioner. Air conditioning machine. So this is always flying. So the motion sensor actually sees that something is happening and you don't really have to stand up all the time. But eventually they fixed the activation duration. I think it is 1 hour now or so. But we figured out a mechanism and maybe you can use it.
Yeah, you can change the settings, but yeah, we could have planned it slightly better. Yeah, certainly. Other suggestions? There's a mic there.
like the academic area. It's not separated properly. Like when a newbie comes in, suppose I have to go to the Department of Electronics. So I don't know where the Department of Electronics is. But in other institutes, there's a it's signboard which writes, okay, this is the Department of Electronics, this is the Department of Metallurgy, or some other things. So it's just block segregation, and exactly I don't know where my faculty see, like in our campus, the faculty of electronics sits in the electronics campus itself, like electronics building itself. But here, it's very confusing. Like for a newbie, it's confusing.
Yes, it is. You're absolutely right. It is confusing. There are some signboards coming up. It will make it slightly better, but it will not solve your bigger issue of all of the people in this area sitting here. That is something, again, it's a conscious decision. We feel interaction and interdisciplinarity works much better when it's mixed up that way. But as we grow, we have to see how it will evolve. It's hard to imagine 10 years down the line whether we'll still be able to do this. Chances are that we will need to have at least some organization as we grow. But at least at this point, when we are small, it's working well. Although for a new person, it is confusing. I fully agree. But in terms of the whole institute feeling like one family, this works well. Otherwise, you tend to be in your own space, and you tend to not feel part of the institute. You feel part of the department. So let's see how it evolves in the future. Yeah, there are subtle things like that. Even, for example, the mess hall. Making the dining hall a separate block is really to do that. So, what's that? I don't know. That is Jason's idea. We were thinking it should be plants that don't really need that much sun. But I think when I was looking at those plants, there are some plants that are even outdoor plants in there, and they start to dry and they start to wilt away. We'll evolve. We'll take those out, put better plants or something like that. Okay, so we'll discuss the dining hall later, because there is endless, right? You can never. There are so many stories. Okay, but the last point I want to ask you guys is, what are your ideas for how you will leave a mark on campus before you go? Of course, one way is your work, your research, and I hope you're putting, almost all of your effort on that, spending night outs and this. It's a very restricted period, right? 8 weeks or 9 weeks or whatever it is. And you have to make the most of it. So you give it everything, right? It's like in that 9 weeks, that is all you're doing, not anything else. Everything else can wait till later. So that should still be your first priority. But still, if you can take a little bit of time out here or there, any ideas on how you can leave your mark behind before you go on campus? I'm not talking about vandalism. एक खिड़की तोड़ दिया, एक जगह पे किया, यहाँ पे कंपास से स्क्रैच किया, not that kind of thing. In a constructive way. I can tell the next SRIP guys that previous SRIP guys did this. Or, we can, put it up somewhere on the web, and you guys can show your friends, oh, we did this. Things like that. Any suggestions for that?
So I think it will be very difficult for, or maybe put it differently, it will be very easy if some suggestions are given that this can be done, or because I feel that this is a wonderful idea. If SRIP 2017, they leave something behind, so that they have always to, remember it by.
So let me stir up the discussion by giving at least directions. Okay, and there could be, so I'm thinking there could be 3 different categories that you could think of. And maybe you will do multiple of these, I don't know. One could be something physical, right? Either it's an artwork that collaboratively 20 of you have done. It need not, and you can get pretty smart with artwork, right? It's not that you need to be an artist. You could all take some small part of your experiment. You can take a circuit board, somebody else can take a chemical, somebody else can take a piece of paper. When I say paper, I mean that litmus paper or this or that. You are using something in your research. You stick it together, make a collage. It could be anything like that. I don't know what it can be. It can be so many things. Something physical, right? Something physical can also be, I don't know, digging a few holes, planting some bushes. That area is a SRIP garden. Eventually, when you come back, you'll see, oh, this area is really developed. There are 10 trees there and few bushes there. It could be anything, right? But leaving something physical behind. And it can be individual also, but it sort of has a very different appeal when it's a group collaborative SRIP group thing.
So do you
That is one.
Do you think this SRIP garden area could be an easy attempt?
It's possible. I think it would largely depend on how the group feels about it. It's something that you should feel happy doing. It's not that kisi ne kaam de diya, so you have to do it. So if you feel excited about it, certainly that can be done. It could be something more artistic. It could be a painting. It could be this. It could be that. So it could be any number of things. Physical, right? That's first thing. It could be something that's hanging from somewhere. It could be a wall that is painted. Any number of things. Not vandalism. I mean, planned, right? Second, it could be, it's a new campus. There are so many things that are not yet developed. It could be a tradition that is set on campus. So if some of you are, for instance, some of you are musicians, you can have a Friday night music area every Friday. So even after you go, every Friday some musicians will come there, strum around, jam, this, that. There's a nice Sandhya Chaya area. You guys have seen Sandhya Chaya, the red bricks, next close to the river, no? Sandhya Chaya is from the library, yeah, you go out. So that could be, and we could even hang some lights from the trees, and that could be a Friday evening, or it could be a Friday night skate night, if many of you are roller skaters. It could be a tradition, any number of things, and these are very simple examples. It could be even simpler, it could be even something simpler to do, because this still needs some organization. But there are so many things like that you can do, where you leave behind a tradition, right? Or every time there's a new SRIP batch, this is what happens. Or every time SRIP guys are going out, this is an event that we do. Because SRIP 2017 started this event. It could be any number of things. It could be a large event, it could be a small activity, it could be an activity in the library, it could be an activity outside, it could be an activity in the evening, it could be a night out chai party on Block 7 Terrace. Block 7 Terrace is meant for parties, by the way. We are still to develop that. Or amphitheater activity, right? Stargazing, monsoon, I don't know how you'll do stargazing, but I mean, so many things. Or it's something where, all the SRIP students invite their advisors to that amphitheater at 10 p.m. Saturday night, and you have a couple of induction stoves there, you make chai, and then you just sit and chat, right? I'm just throwing out totally random ideas. Okay, I would of course love if you guys invite me for a cup of chai, but I'm saying these are, okay. That's second category. Third category, I'm not sure it's a very clearly defined category, but it's possible that you leave behind some kind of record. It could be total number of publications from SRIP. It's 2017, you have a number, it's pasted outside the library, then it's a goalpost for subsequent SRIP guys to have. Or it could be the fastest time to climb Lal Minar is 29.6 seconds, which is set by an SRIP guy or girl in 2017. And you can have girl and women and men different records. We can call it King of Lal Minar and Queen of Lal Minar, or Raja of Lal Minar and Rani of Lal Minar, if that sounds better, right? You could have an activity where you all clock your times and see what is the fastest. You may practice for 3-4 days before, and then that becomes a record. Then every time SRIP guys come back, they will all try to beat that record, right? We may even display it in Lal Minar somewhere. Or it could be something else like that. So I'm giving you two extremes, publication, academic kind of record, or, purely record from just your human spirit, right? You're just so motivated to do that, that you did. It could be any number of things. Any reactions? I mean, one thing we could do is, we may not be able to finalize something right now in a forum like this, but we could bounce off just 1 or 2 ideas and then break there, and you guys can think offline, and then you can email me back saying this is what we want to do. Or you can tell me that we don't want to do anything, right? But you should not leave this question unanswered, right? I post a question to you, you should at least say, no, we are happier focusing on our research, we'll finish that and we'll leave. And that is still satisfaction enough for us, so we don't want to do anything. And that's a perfectly legitimate answer also. Or you say, this is what we want to do. Any reactions?
May I add something to what you said? So, these ideas are really great. And I think every, SRIP batch would love to leave something behind. And what may be possible is that, some of these students actually volunteer to just come up with the ideas, not really take all the responsibility, but come up with the ideas and then just coordinate it through the SRIP 2017 Google group that we have, that what we actually want to do. And then if something we converge towards, we can work to make it happen. So if you may like to volunteer, let me know after the session.
Yeah, I mean, if we were to undertake something like this, there would need to be 1 or 2 volunteers who are coordinating. It's not necessary that they're coming up with all the ideas, but they're making sure the ideas of the... There's a mic there, right? Can you...
One possible thing is that since not everyone has seen the campus, we could have a morning photo walk or something like that, and then click all the photos and make a collage out of it and keep it somewhere. Some website, yeah.
Sure. Putting photos on a website is very easy for me to do, if you guys click the photo. Yeah, certainly. You see photos of Explorer Fellowship around, right? So we could, yeah. You guys have seen photos of the Explorer Fellowship around in a few places. Yeah.
What he said, another very simplistic approach is we take a big canvas and then we have our palm prints. Right? Each SRIP student has his palm prints. Let it dry. Then we write a message, like 1 line or 2 line message with our signature. Like all, how many are there? 100 and some people. 1 line or 2 line message. So that
And then we display it somewhere.
Yeah, that's easy.
Or if it gets folded and kept in a cupboard, then we'll
No,
forget
it will be displayed like that. Depends upon.
So you'll have to identify where to put it. Okay. That's
easy.
another suggestion. Other thoughts? See, the record could even be something like, you all decide among yourselves that tonight or today afternoon, we are going to eat so much in the mess that the mess will have to declare that we ran out of food. I'm just joking. You could target anything. Other thoughts? I mean, just feel free to think aloud, whatever comes to mind. Okay. Not a bad idea. Time capsule where everybody will put something in there.
Yeah, something relevant to what happened in the 2 months, or some memory of this place, some like where they would see themselves after 10 years, And after 10 years, like you bury it in the ground, like you all put it in a box, and you bury it in the ground, and you open it up for like 10, 15 years. You all come together. No, no. Why? Why?
Like, why buried for 10, 15 years? Who the SRIP batch will open it?
No, 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 no. It's not for the next batch. It's for us as.
So you come back in 15 years and then you open it.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you say, oh, I was really doing that full time. Yeah, sure, why not? But then you are making an implicit pact that you will come back after 15 years, which is good. It will be like a reunion, but I'm saying it's a commitment. At least you'll try your best to come.
What about a SRIP tour? Like an SRIP tour, has it happened before? Like some some place like nearby or some nearby places like we can all visit together, or the heritage walk that sir was talking about one day. Has
We
it
did have, so what happens is a scenario like this only. So the email goes to 180 people, say for example 20 come up. So last year also what I think the email was sent to the SRIP group for the heritage walk. The response was very limited. Perhaps it was in the beginning of the session, so people were still coming and they were not fully settled. They didn't have access to emails and so on. But I think it's a week. It's a week. It's a week or two. One or two. Yeah.
I was going to suggest, regardless of what happened earlier, in all, you can think of, Saturday mornings you organize a bus. Even though there are 280 people, you just need one bus because at any one point of time, only 25 or 30 people will come. And then you plan every Saturday, so first Saturday we do the second Saturday. And then 3 or 4 weeks it's a program. But that doesn't, I mean, that's a good thing to do, but that doesn't satisfy my need for leaving a mark behind on campus. But that is independent of that, you can do that. It's a tradition that you have started. But my heart lies closer to campus. Something related to campus that you could do, or something on campus that you could do. Planting a tree. That's again not a bad idea at all. It's a good idea. You just have to think through it a little bit more, because what happens is we have had tree plantation sessions before, not for SRIP, but we haven't done for SRIP, I think, but for other groups of students. In fact, all the IIT Gandhinagar students, when they came in, they all planted a tree. But over a period of time, you lose track of it, you forget it, the tree dies, then it's a very sad situation, right? Nobody is caring for the tree. Then, so if there's a sustainable model that you can set up, that somehow it will be cared for, and then when you do your 15-year reunion, you'll see it's an entire forest there now, what you had planted there. If there's some mechanism that you can come up with for to ensure that, then certainly it's an excellent idea. Anything else from there? No? Mess time started. Okay, 2 last suggestions, then we'll close. Anything random, small, large, easy, difficult. Anything from IIT Gandhinagar, guys? They are included in SRIP, right? So if there's a record set by an IIT Gandhinagar SRIP, it is still counted as SRIP record, right? So the non-SRIP IIT Gandhinagar guys will have to run up Lal Minar for the rest of the year to try and see if they can break that record. Come on, 1 or 2 more random ideas. We cannot fix the match. Then it doesn't make any sense. But yes, certainly that's something to think about. Oh, okay, okay, okay. Yeah. No, but it's not specifically external SRIPs pitted against IIT Gandhinagar. It's not specific in that way.
We can have a tug of war too.
Tug of war. Okay. Any other?
Even between faculties and students, like
Even between
then we
faculty
will
and
collaborate
students.
together for non-IITs and IITs together.
Faculty को बदनाम करना चाह रहे हो? Yeah, possible. All genuine ideas. One last suggestion, totally random. You know what they say about ideation. When you're coming to, when you're trying to generate ideas, you start with small ideas, easy ideas, practical ideas. Then you have to really go to impractical ideas, totally crazy ideas. And then you come back to a practical idea, and that's the process that works the best. Somebody told me in a design course that that's how it, you at some point you start saying, okay, totally crazy, what can we do? And then none of those work out, but that process is very important for you to come up with finally a decent idea. Okay, one crazy idea, totally crazy idea. It could be absolutely anything.
Into a haunted house and then let people cross it, and if the person reaches to the top, then he is somebody like great.
Turn Lal Minar into a haunted house.
Yes, it is like very much like stairs are too much to cross, right? So it is like too much. So it needs guts.
Real courses. So there are two different ideas that I'm hearing there. One is make it a very difficult obstacle race to go to the top. The other is just haunted house for the sake of entertainment, not as a race that who will reach the top first. You guys think it's a good idea? Haunted house? No. Nobody seems excited. General? It's too much effort. Okay, so I trust that you will be able to come up with a good idea in the end. You say, most of you are saying that you have only 1 week. So it's a very time-bound project of a 1-week project. You have to think of something, you have to do something, either physically or record or tradition or this or that. And if you don't want to do it, perfectly fine. You discuss and then shoot me an email saying, we have decided that it doesn't make sense for us to do anything specific. Individually, you may all explore, go visit peacocks, say hi to Neel guys, go to the river, all of those things you may do. But as a, okay, so to close the session, do we want to identify 1 or 2 volunteers who will coordinate and then who will be responsible to write back to me and say that we are doing this or we are not doing this? Okay. One non-IIT Gandhinagar person. Anybody wants to volunteer? Okay, I'm here. The IIT Gandhinagar person. Alrik is not here, I think, from Friday onwards, from day after tomorrow. अरे इसी में SRI नॉन IIT गांधीनगर SRIP ने डिफीट कर दिया IIT गांधीनगर SRIP को वॉलंटियरिंग. No. एक ही volunteer बस है. It's okay, we can go with just 1 volunteer. These guys anyway didn't look very interested. Sorry, I'm just pulling your leg. Okay, so I think we are able to come up with only 1 volunteer. Fine. Amaya, well, you can find my email address easily. it's Harish at iitgn.ac.in, and then within maybe a couple of days, you can email back saying this is what we want to do, or 2 or 3 or 4 days, and then you need some time to do something also, right? If you're doing whenever you can do something related to your poster presentation, whatever. Okay, thanks guys. He said no time limit, but I was assuming not more than 1 hour or 1.5 hours. Ran a little over, but okay. Okay, thanks for coming.